Welcome back to Crit Couch. I am Michael.
I'm Skylar.
And we are here in the break. And Skylar's mentioned this before about hearing music on repeat. I did like this is probably.
I wondered where you were going during the break, and I'm like, you went to the restroom.
Yeah, it was really interesting. This is kind of a known story for people who follow it, but in case, the music, like the theme for Zelda, was written in a night, because Koji Kondo, he was going to use Ravel's Bolero, classical piece, but in Japan,
is there an old man around here?
There is actually.
I just remember somebody said something about old man in the graveyard, but Koji Kondo.
Yeah, basically he was going to use Ravel's Bolero, but it turned out in Japan, he couldn't. And so
Like legally?
The copyright wasn't up yet. It's like something like 50 years after the author's death is when you can use it, and it had been 49 years.
Public domain.
So he had come up with this in a night. So, yes, you mentioned the old man that mentioned the graveyard. So there is something hidden under one of these tombstones, and of course, every time you touch a tombstone.
This shit again.
So this is very interesting because.
God, this is like my bedroom. Yeah, that's what that deserved.
Yeah, it's very interesting. The ones that are present on the screen to begin with, if you watch, they only move in left and right directions, whereas the ones that spawn, I can't remember what they're called.
They can move all over the place?
Like guineas or something weird like that.
Guineas.
Yeah, but the ones that spawn out of the gravestones actually move diagonally.
Guinea.
There is a very curious thing. There's a glitch that came out a few years ago that involves using these spawns. You can only do it in the Japanese version of the game. It's really convoluted. It would take a long time to explain, but essentially, you name the save files in Japanese. You have to name them certain things, and then using this screen with, I believe, the recorder item, you basically force the game to look in the wrong place in its memory for sprite counts. And you can, by doing that, it displaces a whole bunch of crap, and then it starts reading the names in the save screen as code, and it executes code, and it ports you to the Zelda room.
What the
Yeah, it's absolutely insane.
Sure. That kind of stuff is always just so fascinating to me.
So do you see what happens?
Yeah.
So now we know,
To dump you. Ooh, there's the old man.
master using it, and you can have this, but I am a master.
You sure are.
Oh, maybe it's... Oh, no, I have 12 hearts.
Yeah.
Well, there we go.
Well, look at you and your magic sword.
Okay.
Punish that
yeah.
ghost for...
It's oh, well, fuck you, ghost.
You've been largely ignoring them up until that point. But you're like, new sword, gotta try this out.
Yeah, every sword, basically, it's not like a double in strength thing. It's everything basically...
does one more punch.
One more punch, so... Yeah, now I should be able to kill the blue moblins in a single hit, because the white sword upgrades them to... these guys should... Yeah, these die in a hit. And the blue Lionel should die in 2 hits as well. So, not a lot of stuff is threatening to me in the overworld at this point.
You were talking about, tools and stuff, and it makes me think, because, there was one dungeon where you had to have the ladder, right?
Yeah, and that's one of the few items you absolutely do have to have.
Yeah. I guess I was just thinking about Breath of the Wild, because, because we see this with other games, too. They largely give you your kit, right at the beginning of the game.
Yeah.
You get, magnesis and time-stoppy thing and the other
bombs,
thing.
the
bombs.
And the water freezing.
Yeah. You get those all, relatively quickly, and then...
Mostly they get a little bit of upgrading as you move through.
But then, you have that kit, and then you get to just do some really fun and interesting stuff with it throughout the rest of the game. and it's really fun, like how you get to incorporate, because like I think one of my favorite things was when you're using like magnesis to like move the circuitry around and stuff, and because I can't remember if I was over here when you were doing that or what, when you were like laying out swords to goof one of them. But yeah, like anyways, it's just I see some similarities between like, you know, how they give you your kit in that game and this one.
Bright green again. Yeah, and I mean that. So, if you watch like,
it's like not as vibrant on the capture.
No, I mean it's definitely partly this screen like makes it really bright. One of the reasons that they like. Okay. Before I get anything, so these are called pulse voices. These are interesting because the way you're supposed to kill them easily doesn't exist in America. The controller.
How was that been?
The controllers on the Famicom had one of them had a microphone in it.
Okay.
And these things have big ears. And in fact, even the Zelda manual says these things don't like loud noises, like the English one. Okay. You were supposed to like shout at your console to kill them. Mm-hmm. You use the microphone. There is no microphone in the NES. So they had to like change that to arrows being their weakness.
You suddenly gave me a memory of, it was like one of the WarioWare games or something where like it would tell you to like blow into the microphone, but what it was looking for was like a sound.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like the microphone didn't work particularly well. So it was actually more conducive to just be like, into the microphone as opposed to blowing into it.
Oh, is this...
Dig Dogger hates certain kinds of sound.
Well...
You got it.
I don't actually know if... So Dig Dogger is the boss. I don't know...
Did he have like a microphone component?
I don't think
Remember when those were bosses?
Yeah, I actually don't have enough bombs to kill all of them.
Well, time to skip town.
And I actually don't think I have enough rupees to buy... So there are 2 bomb upgrades, so you can... Each one like allows you to carry an additional 4 bombs, and I don't think I have enough rupees to buy the upgrades.
Is the shop like here?
Yeah, it's in the dungeon. Both of the upgrades are in the dungeons.
Well, you did just find a lot of rupees, though.
Yeah, but I don't think...
You think it's like 100?
Yeah, well...
Keep playing the dungeon, we'll get to it, and then maybe we can call that episode if we time it out right. But
yeah, you don't really like need them necessarily, but it is convenient to have more, especially when you get into the final dungeons. Oh, hello. Now I can go kill. I have 9 keys.
Yeah. Yeah, bombs might be a problem, but you are rife with keys.
There we go. I just didn't want to open my menu again.
Yeah, fair.
Because I think...
What, it's like 2 per or something?
Yeah. I think the... I love how they...
Yeah.
Give him a fucking
with
indigestion.
With their, like, goofy eyes, too.
Yeah. I prefer to do it with... Oh, damn it. I prefer to hit them with the bombs when they're coming at me from the side, but... Yeah, because it's too easy to... fuck.
Like, put it... Oh, yeah. You only got 1 shot, Michael.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nice. Look at him. What a sir. He gave you some bombs back.
We got some more little blobby boys.
Jesus.
Well, they all walked on top of my sword. Oh, look, more bombs.
Off my knife.
So I think this is the first dungeon.
Are these like mummies?
Yeah. Gibdos.
Are those the really creepy things?
Yeah, the things that like grab your fucking face in like a lot of the later Zeldas, like starting with the 3D ones.
Yeah, especially was it want to say it was Ocarina of Time where they would like scream at you too.
Yeah, that was
Those
the
things-
first one where they got real creeper.
They like actually scared me as a
wait
kid.
a minute.
What?
I think this is why they give you a bomb.
Yeah.
I'm not sure.
No.
So this is actually where we start getting to, I don't remember, for whatever reason, these dungeon layouts don't stick in my head as well.
We're in uncharted territory.
Ugh.
What's the matter?
Blue dark nuts. Remember dark nuts, like...
You got that guy from across the room. From across the room. Boof.
Blue ones also hurt more.
Luckily,
see
you got
the-
that ring.
Yeah.
Get him. Oh.
Technically,
He had a little lady inside him,
I had a...
piloting him like a Jaeger. No, I said a Jaeger. Everybody watch Pacific Rim? You enjoy it? One of my favorite movies.
I had a thought early on before we started playing this that like maybe I'd like do things super out of order and like go to level 8 first and get the magic key so I wouldn't have to worry about keys.
Well, it hasn't been a problem.
Yeah, fortunately. Okay, maybe this might be the room where I get the recorder actually. This looks suspicious.
Hey, Michael.
Hey, what? Fuck.
Man. Oh, he hit you. Oh, now you got full life again. Punish him. Oh.
Yeah, these guys like turn on a dime, which is, it's part of the challenge.
So how many Zeldas just default you to always blocking? Like a lot of the 2D ones?
Yes. Anything like some of that's like button lack, like in this era you only had A and B, right? So
Oh, you didn't have the triggers, right?
yeah, and even in the Super Nintendo era, you had the triggers, you had extra buttons, but one button was attack, one button was menu, one button...
I love this like perspective change just because of how they look. His face is like twisted whenever you find an item.
Yeah, he's a little angled. That the perspective is a really interesting thing in terms of like making these types of worlds because, and this is true of any top-down game, everything's always a little off.
Yeah.
The Super Nintendo games when they did it too, and it changed. Like it's all wonky in every single place. Like here.
Yeah.
It, technically there's a vanishing point dead in the center of the screen if you look at the way like the angles here
except
happen.
Link is like isometric. Yeah.
But then when you're outdoors and you're like in the forest, everything is the same sprite, but then also there's the stairs that go up the mountainside, so it's supposed to create this idea of depth. So like there are a million perspectives happening at once that are all incorrect next to one another. But everything else
you don't
looks
really
so...
notice it as if anybody...
Well, yeah, everything else looks so simple and cartoony, it just kind of works.
It's the bat room.
I like how there's a key in there in case you only had one key left and you went down instead of left.
It's like a contingency.
Well, yeah, because you need the recorder to beat this level.
No, is that the water dungeon?
Oh, yeah, where you can actually back yourself into a corner.
Yeah, I feel like you used the wrong keys, I think.
Yeah, well, I mean, this game is better about that because you could actually buy keys exterior. In the exterior.
I guess you could, huh?
I mean, yeah, like I've been maintaining my key count between dungeons, this nine fucking keys that I've got sitting here that, oh, right.
Get him.
Don't need to because that door doesn't open anyway.
I was just thinking, so my first, because this was your first Zelda, right?
Yeah, I mean, it was the first.
The first,
yeah,
but it was
so,
your first
yeah.
too, right? How old were you when this came out? Because it came out 86, is that right?
Well, so I
In
don't think I
America?
got my Nintendo till 89. So
Okay.
I mean, I wouldn't have played this when it first came out. I still would have been like, I would have been like 5 or 6.
Looks like a turtle head. Yeah. Okay. And yeah, so that's about the age gap.
Yeah.
Because 89, that's when I showed up. Yeah, it's just, man, it's fascinating. I'm curious, when did Ocarina of Time come out?
96.
Never mind, I won't look it up.
It was either 96 or 90. No, that might have been. It was 96 or 98. I think 96 is when the N64 came out. I believe 98 was actually when Ocarina came out because it came out.
Did Ocarina
later.
of Time not launch with the N64?
No. The
wow.
N64 launched with Mario.
Yeah,
and,
Super Mario 64. Star Fox?
No, Star Fox was not on launch because there was, I think, Pilot Wing 64 maybe. There was like
yeah, something like that.
Because there was basically like one other game that I wasn't interested in because I just bought Mario and played the shit out of that.
Mm-hmm. Boy, wasn't that a exciting game at the time.
Really was.
I didn't really get into Pilot Wing 64. You called it. Yeah. I didn't really get into video games like as much as I love them now until probably a little into the lifetime of the N64, to be honest. Because there were 393 games released for that console.
Yep.
Holy crap. Which is funny because there were something like 700 for the SNES is what I just saw. But the I'm trying to remember the game that like really, because like I remember playing like Pokemon Snap and stuff on there. Mario 64, I remember beating that.
It's Dig Dogger.
Is that what that is? Okay.
Yeah. Oh god.
He just looks like a Beyblade.
So I play the recorder and he doesn't like it and he turns into Little Beyblade.
Oh.
And now I've beaten the dungeon. Didn't even find the compass.
Wow, that was pretty. Really just kind of turned that into nothing.
Yeah.
Okay. So what does the flute do, like, exterior to this?
It teleports you to different dungeons, I believe. So, yeah, if I sit here... So that was... I talked about this, like,
Yeah.
it just took us back. I think if you're at a dungeon, it might take you to... I don't remember the exact rules for it. Yeah, so...
Yeah.
It's taking you to dungeons you've beaten in order, I think.
Okay.
No, that's 4. That's 5. That's still 5. It's actually very curious. Okay, there's 1. I don't know why it took me to. There's some counter in the background that I'm sure that it's governed by. But yes, it takes you to dungeons. So it's just another like movement tool, and then occasionally it does something special in a zone. But we are at 18 minutes for this episode, so we've been running a little long on these, but I think that's
fine.
I think it's
Yeah.
cool.
To finish that thought real quick too. So like, and just for like personal context, so like in 64, that's kind of when I started turning on for like gaming and stuff. But then like there's a period after that where like I just really didn't game. PlayStation 2 was what really got me into gaming, actually.
That makes sense for your age range. I mean, like
my dad bought an N64 so he could play the Turok game.
There's definitely an interesting age gap because like, and this, not that 7-year-olds can't do this. I mean, they absolutely can, but like there is a bigger motor control need with joysticks than there is with D-pads.
Mm-hmm.
So I think like, especially with the N64's controller, like that is I did that on purpose so that I could save. I forgot we named him Oprah.
I did too.
But yeah, there's a manual dexterity need for joysticks that is, I think, a higher level than a D-pad. So, I mean, and this isn't saying that this is a global experience, but like it makes sense to me that somebody who's like 5 to 7 would have maybe not taken to the N64s quickly, just on that level. Not that it's not possible. This is just supposition. There also just might not have been games that really appealed to you conceptually until you hit the PS2 era. I mean, I don't know if the controls made a difference. I know, like, as a teenager, I was like, who made this N64 controller? What is this? There were jokes all over the place about it at the time. So,
yeah, God, I remember one of the pictures of like the conceptual. I don't know if it was like the Dolphin controller, but it looked like a boomerang. You remember what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
But anyways, well, hey, I know we've been running long on these, but yeah. We'll see you on the next one.
Yeah, next time on Crit Couch, we'll go to level 6, I guess.